Hello, my name is Indrik. I am the co-founder at AlphaBlues, and I welcome you to our 9th webinar. And this time we're going to cover the topic called how to build the content of your virtual assistant. So how we run these webinars is that we go through briefly introduction about the company, then we dive straight into the content that you are here for. And then in the end, I will leave time for questions. So if you want, you can submit them in the chat or in the questions pane of the webinar software. So let's dive right in. The question is, one of the things we've been doing in AlphaBlues is create a host of these webinars. So if you're new, just go to YouTube, search for AlphaBlues AI, and you'll find all the previous webinars there available. So you can use the information that's there. If you have any questions, reach out to us, hello@alphablues.com, and enjoy the content we have put together for you. In addition, a few words about us. We've been in this business for almost 4 years. And the whole idea is, to make machines smart so that you can automate the communication with your customers. Currently, the virtual assistants or bots that we have are doing more than 250,000 conversations with customers each month. So we know well what it takes to build these solutions at scale. And we do it through our own end-to-end chat automation product, allowing you to create chat windows, build the whole conversational interface, and train your NLU all within one product built by us. And you can also connect that to agents. So not only can you have the bot, you can also have the chat connected to customer service agents. They have the full live chat dashboard and all the analytics go with it. So all the things you need for messaging automation, be it on your website, Messenger, WhatsApp, or wherever you want to have it. And we've been featured on CNN with our solutions. So let's dive straight in. Question number one, what we get is, what to include in the virtual assistant. And this is a very good question because, when you start building it, there are several things you can go about it. And one of the things that I and we advocate is the 80-20 rule. So this also applies in building bots. And what does it mean? Well, it means that you should automate 20% of the topics that give you 80% of chat volume. So this is a rule of thumb, and it's a very good rule of thumb to start out with because, when you start out building your bot, what you want is to have it live in front of your customers, right? And there is not much point in spending months and months of time into making it perfect. It won't be perfect, and it will just frustrate you. So instead of that, select the 20% of the topics that give you the most chat volume and focus on those. And why you want to do that is because this way you get the most ROI out of the virtual assistant. Because these are the questions that people will ask you in most of the time, and so just focus on those. And in the beginning, don't bother with the other 80% because if it gives you 20% of volume, it provides little volume and the automation effort is really not worth it. You will maybe achieve some results, but it could be mediocre at best. So don't bother with it. Go with the 20% of topics that give you most of the chat volume. And we have built the topic rating matrix around this. So, one thing you can think of the topic rating as two axes. On the one axis, you have occurrence. This is how many times these topics occur. And, here, green is good. So, top right, let's say you have a telecom case. The question is, what's the cheapest mobile plan available for a new user? If this gets asked a lot, perfect. This would be a question that's, asked 80% of the time, right? Use that. And then another axis you can think about is solvability. So how easy it is to solve this. So, think of occurrence, but also, can the bot solve it on its own? Does it need a human? Does it need authentication? All those things. You want to have, ideally you want to go with the green boxes first, maybe include some yellow ones, but don't really bother with the red ones because these are tough. So you can go to alphablues.com/how to build a chatbot. We have a blog post there. It highlights many of the things. So this is good to keep in mind. And what this means is that you, in the beginning, when you think of selecting of topics, you have to keep the focus, right? It's important to keep the focus, because without the focus, you will most likely be lost, and there will be many topics that you want to include, and you start including them and building them and don't want to leave anything out. But it will do a great disservice, because what you want is that you want a bot that you put into a silent live mode, get in front of people and see how they react and test it. And then from there, your audience, your customers will indicate what topics they want to have in there. So don't think of it as like when you launch the bot, it's not like opening night and it has to be perfect. It's more like, yes, it's opening night, but there's only like 15% of people in the audience. See where they laugh, where they like to play, and then take it in that direction. That's sort of the mentality that you want to have, and you want to keep that focus on getting the bot out and in front of our customers. So the second question we get a lot, and I want to address this, how to structure the content. So let's say you have those 20% of the topics that give you the 80% of volume. You have those 20% of the topics, and ideally you would start out with maybe 30-40 topics in the beginning. I think this should be plenty. You can start out with 100, but probably you're overdoing it in the beginning. So have those 40 topics, and how do you structure them? And why structure is important is because in the beginning there will be 40 topics, but in the end there might as well be 400 or 1,000 topics. And so what you want to do is you want to have that focus that these topics are organized. This ties also later on into training, and we covered that in our last webinar of how to train the bot. But you want to have a structure and keep it clean, because you want to avoid duplicates, right? So a couple of pointers, the 20% in different sectors, and let's take telecoms. A big topic for them is invoices. What services have I used? What's my current balance? Things around that. The second big topic in telecoms is technical issues. Something's not working, internet's not working. And then it's purchasing, phones, TVs, computers, right? So those three already take up a lot of bandwidth in customer service and telecoms, right? And this is how you have to think about it. Or take banking, for example. So people have questions about transactions. When will transactions arrive? Like when I sent them, when will the other party get it? About accounts, about opening, closing, modifying them. About cars, getting credit cards, or getting a loan, buying a house, or leasing a car. And in travel, you want to book things, tickets, and then you want to change the booking, right? This is essentially three industries, but a bulk of the questions will fall into those buckets. So if you're in one of those industries and thinking of a bot, definitely use that as a starting point. But if you're in a different industry, just think what are the most common things in your sectors. And so how to build the structure. So I've taken here a screenshot of our product in-house, and let's think a hypothetical example of a car dealership. So they're selling cars, and how might they structure their bot? Well, we advise to use folders. So in our solution, when you build a bot, you have folders, and these are the yellow folders, and underneath them you will have the topics. So these are in blue. So maybe you want to have, and the folders are for you to keep your bot content organized. So let's say you have one folder for insurance because you sell it. The other is for services. Maybe there you provide, I don't know, maintenance, and you sell new cars and whatever it is. Then you have store locations. That's another third, large topic. And then the fourth one is questions about my car. So if I'm a customer, I will have questions about my car. So this is a good way to think about that. If I'm a car dealership, then I will think of, let's say, the main question bundles I will get, and I will bundle them into a folder, and I will name them. So now when I'm thinking, okay, so store location is a big thing. Maybe people want to find where you're located. that's important, right? And then there's a topic underneath stores around me. There could be also, store hours or times of opening hours during holidays, or whatever it may be. But let's say it's all related to physical store locations, right? Then insurance. Let's say you're selling insurance. Well, you have a topic, insurance pricing, but you can add topics there as like, validity, what to do in case of, you have an accident, things like that. And so the last thing is, that's about my car. So, as a customer, I want to, know how much mileage I have. I need a car inspection. When should I come in for it? I have a technical issue with my car. So these are all folders, and why you want to organize topics around those is that it's basically like storyboards or stories related to common issues. Because in the future, when you have, let's say, new insurance product, then it's very easy for you to go into the bot content and see, okay, here's all the topics about insurance, and now I'm adding new content. Do I create a new topic, or maybe I just modify the existing insurance pricing? Why is this important? Is that you want to have the information not duplicated. So what you want to have is, if you talk about insurance pricing, it should be only in one place. Because if you have it in two places, then one, the bot will have a hard time matching it with the right topic. Because you train pricing and how much is pricing and how much does it cost into a topic. And if you have duplicate topics, then the bot will maybe just bring up one, or worst case scenario, it will bring up one topic one time and the other pricing topic another time. And if the answers are different and you don't edit them or keep them up to date, then in one case the bot says it costs $100, and in the other case it says it costs $200, right? So you want to have the content structured, and you want to have it, information not being duplicated. So this is why it's important to keep it under control. And this is a very simple example. This is just 4 folders and five topics, right? Think about it. If you have 300 topics, it's already quite a lot. And if you have 500 topics, so if you're a large company and the knowledge base grows, you definitely want to keep it clean, and especially when adding new topics and removing old ones. So structure the content. Another thing is that you should use or can use nested flows for additional information. So let's say you need car inspection. Well, let's say you sell 2 types of cars A and B. Then you don't have to train, I need car inspection for car A and I need car inspection for car B. You just bundle it under the topic of I need car inspection, because that will be your easiest way of bringing in people to that topic through the phrases you have trained, and then making people have a choice of what car they have. So think of sort of these as like this gatekeepers, or those types of go through topics where you just bring people to one topic, and then let them select the specifics of what they have. Of course, if you have an authenticated bot, you don't even need to ask if people have a car A or car B. The information, we get it from your backend, and we know that they have a car A, and they will, we will say what the inspection rules are. But if you don't have authentication, then it's good to bring people to that one sort of umbrella topic, and then let them make the choices underneath that. But of course, be wary. Don't build 7-step nested flows. These don't work. Keep it at 3 at max, because people don't want to click around for a long time. They don't want to go to too much depth. They want to find the answer quickly. So keep it at 3 flows at max. And the last thing is using visual content for improving your user experience. And this is important, because the bot will be it can be in your mobile app or website. Different interfaces have different design elements. So the way that the bot would look in WhatsApp is different. The way that it would look in Messenger is different. The way that it would look on your website. And this is because the companies that offer products for interfaces, these companies differ. What we have found is that we build bots that have the chat window for the user on the website or internet or in their mobile app. And because we control that interface, we can build almost anything in there. But make sure that when you deploy it to a channel, you know what you want to show in the channel and that the interface allows for it, especially if you're using, let's say, current live chat products and you want to do something fancy inside the chat window. It is very likely that the bot will be unable to show it because usually the chat window interfaces are relatively rigid. But do check with your provider. So a couple of things, so this is a chat window, and some of the things you can do. Well, one, clearly have a name. Have a name for the bot at the top. Have an avatar, so that people know that they're talking to. You can name it. You can just give it a name, or just call it virtual assistant, or chatbot, whatever it is. But just give it a name so that people know who they're talking to. Then another good thing is that use spacing between chat bubbles, right? Or use chat bubbles, because if you just if the bot just gives out 30 lines of text in black on a gray background, and just line after line, it's just boring. Visually you won't bother reading it because it's just a blob of text. So the ideal way is to give out the content in chat bubbles. Maybe each bubble is a few lines long, and be very concise, right? I think like more like in Twitter style, where you have the limit to the characters. Think of the bot in a similar way. Be very concise. Don't start writing long sentences. Have like 5 sentences in the one chat bubble, because it will be very long and won't fit really well on the screen. Also, when you provide information, use emojis, because they sort of create these visual anchors. So when you talk about an account, maybe you can use the emoji of money, or about video identification, you use a camera, or about opening time, use the calendar. Whatever it may be, use those things, because these are the things that people will, with their eyes, be drawn to. So they are not drawn to like 10 lines of text. They are first drawn to those visual cues, right? Then think of using buttons. We provide both buttons and free text, because some people just like to interact through buttons, some free text, but buttons give for easy choice. So A or B, just click A. You don't have to go in and type B. You just click on it and you're done with it. It's the simplest way of interaction, right? So again, think of the smallest amount of touch points that the customer can have with the interface and still get the answer. And of course, you can have an area for sending a message, for typing it in. If you just want to have a clickable bot, that's also fine. So it's really your call. And when you provide information, the URL links, we use them persistently. So these can link to companies' knowledge bases, FAQ sites, certain places where the customer can do something, but don't really put them as like HTTPS and all that. Put it into a link with a text. It's again a clickable button. Put there like an emoji or something. So it makes it welcome and sort of less boring, because the bots is all about communication that should be efficient but also light, and you want to keep it light by not having too much text and too much information, because let's face it, the chat window is small. You can make it higher, but still it doesn't show a lot of text. It's more about giving the person a very concise answer to their question. And so if you cannot provide the answer, the bot's not sure, provide a link. And also, from UX point of view, of course, at the end of each conversation, ask like, was the answer helpful? Did the users find their answer what they're looking for? And give them an easily selectable option. So, if they found it, you will get feedback. If they didn't get the answer correct, they click no and they can be connected to customer support. So it's really about giving the user quickly what they're looking for and the choice. So this concludes the slides that I had for today. Let's see if people if people on the call have some questions. So if you have questions, just enter them in the questions section, and I'll be happy to answer that. Okay, so we have a question. Do you have templates or bot personas for different use cases, for example, telecoms and banks? Yeah, so what we have done is we have been working with a variety of telecom and financial companies, and we have built sort of a set of questions that we know that these companies get asked. And based on that, it's possible to create bot personas around it. So these templates serve as like a beginning point for your bot. Of course, the persona of the bot is tied to branding. So depends on what type of a brand you have for your company, whether is the bot more serious and sort of formal, or do you want to keep more like a light tone? It really depends on the type of branding you have, and usually here, creating a persona, utilize your marketing department. They will definitely have pointers for what type of communication they wish to convey through the bot. So let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so we have now a lot of questions coming in. So do you need technical background to build content for a bot? For example, edit how the bot behaves or what it says? Well, no. So in our product, the solution that I showed, that is purely it's a non-technical interface. So you click a button, you add a topic, you modify the content inside the chat windows, you add it. You don't need programming skills. And if you're selecting a virtual assistant building platform, this is something definitely you should go for, because usually it's somebody in your customer support or product management team who will be editing the content and building the bot. And in many cases, these are not your programmers. So you want to select a platform that allows people with no technical background to build it. But what you also want to have is you want to have ways for your developers to also access content. So definitely check that there's API connections available into the bot content platform, because that way your developers can build things on their own as well. For example, authentication or serving personalized information. Okay, next one. How many topics can be included in a chatbot? Is there a limit? So there's no limit. Put in as much as you want. However, I advise, as said, you start out with 30, 40, that's plenty. You grow it, you keep it live for a year or 2 or 3, then it grows to a few hundred. But I wouldn't advise going beyond 1,000 or so, because at that point, usually it just gets very large and complex, and keeping it updated. You need somebody to take care of that, but you sort of might get lost in it. So rather, if you want to have a bot, keep the topics that you have, let's say around a few hundred, but make sure that training data is good. So check out our last webinar, but make sure that you have relevant training data and people find the information. There's no point in having 3,000 topics, but when I search for something, I don't find it, right? So rather think of the way of how information gets discovered through the bot, analyze the bot actions, analyze what people are happy with, where they get stuck, focus mostly on that. So it's about quality, not just quantity. Okay, so we will end it here. If there are people that have more questions, do reach out to us, hello@alphaboost.com or indrek@alphaboost.com. Always happy to get your questions. And also, if there are topics that you want us to cover in the future, do let us know. Until then, thank you for listening and take care.